Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jeff Rains coming to you again with Foundation of Civilization. I wanted to do a quick update in the middle of the week because there's a lot of things going on every day, and I thought that this deserved a its own special video. The Department of Government Efficiency is going in and just ripping up the federal budget. I am always wondering what is going on behind the scenes when I hear about a story, it's like, okay, who's been messing with different things? It's rarely ever just whatever the topic of the day, the point of the day is. There's usually something else behind the information. It was uh, the lack of transparency that I keep seeing. That's the kind of thing that got us into World War One. Behind the scenes, each of the countries had made secret deals to defend, to protect each other. And then all of a sudden, some minor, hardly known royal figure got killed, and Europe uh, and much of the world erupted into war. Millions of people died. I'd love to be able to avoid those kinds of things, and we have to come to understand what's going on behind the scenes and especially how is our money being spent. Well, today we have a lot of people that are finding it controversial to even ask where our money's being spent. Some are calling into question the legitimacy of the current president's actions, and I'm sure that there'll be legal challenges, but but I also believe that this is very necessary. For too long, our dollars have been spent on unauthorized, illegal, and immoral things. And many politicians are absolutely screaming bloody murder because they're finding where the money is going and they're finding that it's being spent on illegal and immoral practices. The uh, the president went in and requested access to the Treasury's payment system, and long-term Treasury employee, the in fact he was the top-ranking career employee at the Treasury, refused. And instead of giving him access, he actually ended up resigning. His name was, and I hope I get this right, David Lebryk. Instead of working with the president, he resigned. So that tells me something. It was also discovered that previous Treasury leaders, had informed the workers to make payments no matter what the situation. They even if they knew that a the payee person receiving the money was fraudulent or a known terrorist organization, they were supposed to issue the money. I thought this has got to be absolutely absurd, but this is the level of graft and corruption that our government has come to, the United States government. A lot of the uh, cost savings have focused lately around U.S. aid. I believe it became a target because it was well known that U.S. aid was laundering money all over the world for the wrong reasons. It also, I want to make a note that U.S. aid operates at the discretion of the president. The bureaucrats at USA decided to ignore the president's directions. He told them to stop funding different programs. They ignored him, and now they're out of a job. In fact, the whole agency has been folded under the Department of State, and they're no longer. It's pretty well been shut down. Every USAID employee was recalled from around the world, and the a lot of the money is being canceled. A lot of contracts have been canceled. Some of the interesting findings that I've come across, the underutilized leases have been terminated, saving $44.6 million. Underutilized leases, those are buildings that we're paying to maintain. We're keeping the heat on and light on, I just wonder how many children could be fed with the money that we're wasting on these things. How many homeless people could actually be residing in these facilities? Initially, it was 20 contracts. Um, uh, I'm sorry. The next cancellation was 20 consulting contracts. Initially, it was 20 consulting contracts, mostly for strategic communication and executive coaching. That was expanded to quite a few more, and the cost savings ended up being $165 million. Some other ones of note: there are a massive amount of DEI contracts, and whether you support DEI or not, uh, I don't understand how we could be spending that much money on these DEI contracts. The Office of Personnel Management, DEI, actually had the largest at $516 million. $500 million for a DEI contract? Okay, I don't get it. Oh, I guess as of this morning, the unoccupied lease cancellations and a DEI contract was up to $420 million. The U.S. aid at DEI contract was $375 million. Consulting, yeah, I made a note of the consulting contracts. Department of specific DEIA contract cancellations. Department of Agriculture, Department of DEI contract was $112 million. Uh, 78 contracts across multiple agencies. Uh, uh, for groundwater exploration and assessment in Mauritania, $110 million. Now, guys, I get and being able to look for groundwater in Mauritania, but Mauritania is not that big. We're up over $1 billion that they've already saved, and they've only just gotten started. It has also come to light this morning that there were quite a few contracts for uh, media sources. New York Times was receiving, I believe, $40 million. In fact, see if I, yeah, New York Times subscriptions were at $40 million. The Politico, had over the past year had received $8 million. It was I find the timing highly suspicious. There is an article in Axios that denies the connection, but as soon as U.S. aid funding was cut off, Politico was unable to make their payroll. Again, leaders at Politico say that there's no connection. However, I find the timing highly suspicious. There is another interesting development as these uh, and look, ladies and gentlemen, I want to make sure that you guys understand a lot of these services, especially for the consulting jobs and all, that's just money laundering. They've got a friend. They said, "Hey, we can get you some money. We can get you a lot of money through U.S. taxpayers, and we want to launder it to you." And they're setting up the contract. They tell them how to write the contract, what to do, and where to submit it, and the politicians' buddies are getting paid. I also found it highly suspicious because recently the current Ukrainian president, Vladimir Zelensky, conducted an interview on Ukraine media, and he admitted, without being prompted, that Ukraine received only about 70 billion of the 177 billion authorized. Those were his numbers, and I understand that the amount of money authorized by U.S. Or by Congress was is over 200 billion. I think a number I heard was 230 billion dollars. Some of this money we know is sent directly to defense contractors to procure weapons and equipment for Ukraine. But he's stated less than half. that money has come to them. Also suggests that some of the money may have gone to relief agencies that he never knew about. Less than half. And I also find it highly interesting that politicians have resisted the request for oversight. Uh, Look, there's no telling how much of this money has been laundered into politicians' bank accounts. And I remember when the war first kicked off, that there were quite a few people that warned. In fact, the Ukrainian parliament came together and asked uh, the then president to look into lost money, money that had been authorized by Congress to go to Ukraine and disappeared to the tune of $7 billion. They also came back and they said, "Hey, we have the receipts. We can show it. It came through Ukraine and went right back to Wall Street." And they had the names and account numbers of who had received it. But it was ignored. It was ignored by the previous president, who is now the current president, and our then the president in between the current president. I believe for obvious reasons that we've just got too many politicians that are up there stealing money. And look, I would be absolutely excited if we could get the politicians to the point where they've got to take a second job so they can afford to cover their bills. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime too soon. They're getting paid off. Far too many people are getting paid off by taxpayers. I also want to note that USAID has been the greatest force for that. They've been a force for some good in the world. But they've also been the greatest force for evil. They have they have funded NGOs that are smuggling people, human trafficking, conducting human trafficking, modern day. It's modern day slavery, people. Some of the 300,000 children that have gone missing, a lot of that is because due to U.S. aid funding NGOs. It is also because U.S. aid has been funding rebels around the world. I will venture to say that if we dig hard enough, we're going to find that the money either between U.S. aid or other agencies that have been laundering money to forces uh, have been able. These rebel forces have been able to conduct operations and get people killed. I'll venture to say that 1,200 Israelis would still be alive if not for this kind of illegal funding. 40,000 Gazans would still be alive if, and I'm assuming that that number is still accurate. I would also go to venture to say that 1 million Ukrainians and Russians would still be alive. Some people put the number of dead at much higher, but I'll stick with the 1 million people. We've got to get control of these agencies. They thought that they could continue to hide the money, and they discovered that no, they can't. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you guys are paying attention to what's going on and that you guys are just as concerned about where money is being spent, not just for helping the poor and the needy as they advertise, but for helping uh, for the money that's been going to buy weapons and to get people killed. That has got to stop. And if we want to have a civilized society, we've got to be able to keep control of our politicians and stop letting them waste the money that we have. Again, this is Jeff Rains, my interweek update, and hope you all are doing well. Please like, share, and subscribe, and look forward to talking to you guys again very soon. Thanks again. Bye.